Welcome to ACES Podcast. I'm Dr. Yang. Health is our greatest wealth. Let's take good care of it together. Today, I want to tell you a story about the gene, but also a story about misunderstanding, fear, and finally, we want to give everybody a clarity. Because for the past 10 years, more and more patients walk into my office saying, Dr. Yang, my MTHFR gene is abnormal. Am I broken? Or even, is this why I feel anxious? Why I can't sleep? Why my body overreacts? The truth is, you're not broken. You simply need to understand your biology more deeply. And once you do, your health becomes something you can shape, not something you fear. A few years ago, a woman in her 40s came to see me. She was trembling as she handed me her lab results. Dr. Yang, I have MTHFR mutation. The internet says this gene is dangerous. Is this why I'm anxious all the time? Before I even look at the paper, I said, let's breathe first. Because here's the truth. Up to 50% of world population has a MTHFR variation. Half of the planet cannot be genetically doomed. She was shocked. MTHFR is not a disease. It is not a defect. It's simply a difference in how your body processes folate and how efficiently your body performs methylation, a biochemical process that affects everything from detoxification to neurotransmitters, inflammation, energy, and histamine. Let me explain MTHFR in simple terms. Imagine folate as a raw ingredient. Your body needs to convert it into active folate, 5-MTHF, before it can actually be used. Active folate fuels methylation, and the methylation is like your body's internal software update. It keeps your biological programs running smoothly, for example, repairing DNA, creating neurotransmitters, clearing histamine, detoxify chemicals and hormones, lowering homocysteine, even helping your sleep, and stabilizing mood and emotional resilience. When methylation slows, the system doesn't collapse, it simply becomes less efficient. That's all MTHFR means. You're vulnerable to develop methylation imbalance, but it doesn't mean it has to happen. It doesn't tell us it has happened. It doesn't tell us how your methylation is doing. Is it too much or too little? Some people online say MTHFR causes anxiety, depression, infertility, autism, heart disease, chronic fatigue, autoimmune illnesses, but the science tells us something different. MTHFR does not cause these conditions. It can make you more sensitive to the factors that trigger them. Think of it like being born with a small backpack instead of a big one. When life gives you stress, toxins, poor diet, or lack of sleep, your backpack becomes full more quickly. But you can still climb mountains. You just need the right tools. In medicine, we say, gene load the gun, environment pulls the trigger. Your environment, your sleep, your stress, nutrition, emotional life matters far more than the gene itself. Let me share another story. A young engineer came to me with headaches, fatigue, and brain fog. He had a MTHFR mutation, but what really stood out was his homocysteine level, 18. For the context, optimal 6 to 8, over 10 inflammations rising, over 15 cardiovascular risk increases. Homocysteine is like the smoke alarm of your methylation system. When it rises, it tells us your body needs support. After 3 months of simple interventions, 5-MTHF, methylated B12, magnesium, calcium, sleep before 11 p.m., and reducing alcohol, His homocysteine dropped to 8, his headaches disappeared, and he told me I finally feel like my brain is mine again. This is why I always say your lab value teaches us far more than your gene. Now let's talk about something the internet almost never explains correctly, MTHFR and histamine. Histamine is not just about allergies. It is a neurotransmitter, a wakefulness chemical, a stress amplifier. When histamine is high, your body feels like it is constantly hearing a fire alarm. Many of my patients describe the same symptoms. Dr. Yang, I feel anxious in my whole body, my heart races at night, my wine makes me flushed, shaky, or emotional. My skin reacts to everything. My brain feels wired, even when I'm exhausted. Why? Because histamine must be cleared through methylation. If methylation is slow, histamine stays longer and you feel overstimulated. This is not psychological weakness. This is biochemistry. As a psychiatrist, I have observed how methylation is responsible for creating key neurotransmitters like serotonin, responsible for mood, calm, digestion, and dopamine, responsible for motivation, confidence, and norepinephrine, responsible for stress reactions, and melatonin for sleep. When MTHFR is mutated, methylation is slow, these neurotransmitters can become imbalanced. But here's the interesting part. Histamine and serotonin compete. If histamine is high, serotonin signaling often drops. That means more anxiety, more irritability, more insomnia, more emotional sensitivity, more wired but tired lights, more overthinking. I tell my patients, you're not emotionally unstable, your biology is overstimulated. This alone helps people breathe again. From Western science, we know methylation affects detoxification, especially liver metabolism, hormones, and environmental chemicals. From Chinese medicine and mind-body medicine, I have learned something deeper. When the liver is overwhelmed, the mind becomes irritable, sleep becomes shallow, and emotions become reactive. In other words, a body that cannot detox cannot relax. This is why people with MTHFR variants often say, my emotions rise faster than others. Stress hits me harder. Alcohol affects me more. My sleep is easily disturbed. This is not a flaw, this is a signal, and signals are messengers, not judgments. For over 30 years, I have learned that healing is not one-dimensional. It requires ACEs model to comprehend them. A means anatomy, reduce inflammation, move, open the chest, strengthen the legs. C is the chemistry, support methylation with micronutrient antioxidants, and differentiate between over-methylate and under-methylate because they demand different kinds of treatments, and reduce the alcohol and the sugar. Energetically, we need to regulate our nerve system, breathing, sleep rhythm, sunlight, emotional reset practices, all very important for our energy. At a spiritual level, we really need to stabilize our inner world, our relationships, feeling grateful, have meaningful goals, and spiritual alignment. When all four dimensions move together, histamine drops, homocysteine normalizes, neurotransmitter rebalance, detox improve, and your emotional life becomes calmer, lighter, and clearer. So, if you have MTHFR variants, please hear me clearly. You're not broken. Your body simply speaks a different biochemical language. Once you learn to support it, you can feel better than ever. If today's video helped you understand your health more deeply, please subscribe. Your support truly matters to us. Protect your clarity, protect your peace and your health. I will see you next time.